In this lecture, we're going to cover backgrounds. And for a lot of you all, this is going to be very exciting because this would be the first thing that a viewer will see in your respective scene. The most important thing to keep in mind is that you want that background to not be distracting. You don't want it to take away from the reading experience. And ultimately, you want there to be seamless user friendliness associated. So really think about that aesthetic as far as what you have on that background. But let's go ahead and get started. So I just clicked on the background, and you know that you have that background selected if you look over to the right vertically and you see what you see here. So under scene 3, I'm first going to click on replace layout because guys, this is an amazing feature. And what this is it's giving you the ability to change your layout prior to you getting into the schematics of changing your background. So thinking back to when we originally went over, hey, I'm ready to create a video. Do I want to create something from a template? Get this. You can click on any of these collections of scenes, as we call a template, and then from there, all you have to do is you can click right here on replace scene, and on your screen, you have that respective not only background, but scene emulated, and then you can get into changing the background. So before you change that background, it's refreshing to know that you can change that layout. Now, right beneath replace layout, you see background color and also background media. Now with it, notice if you have background media toggled on, you can't really do much with that background. But if you toggle it off, now you can change that color. So you do have 3 options for your colors. So of course you can have fun and you can scroll left to right until you find the hue of your choosing. Or you can click on the color picker and you can drag it over in your scene and you can click on a color. This is really good if you guys do have a logo and if you're wanting to take the color out of that logo and have it as that background. And lastly, you can put in the hex code, which is alphanumeric. And so if you're not aware as to, hey, what my hex code is, all you have to do is add your logo into your scene, and then from there you would use the color picker. And notice when you do select a color, that hex code changes. So if you're not aware of what that is, just add your logo in, take that color picker to hover over it to get that exact hue that you're looking for. So those are your 3 options as far as changing the background to a color. Now, when it comes to media, you have the option of an image or, let's say, a video. So with that, right here, we're going to click on replace, and we have the ability to replace our imagery. So with it, you do have several options. The first option is you can go over to your library, and if you've already uploaded something, you can select something from here. The next thing is you also have Synthesia spaces, which I absolutely adore, guys. These are wonderful, beautiful backgrounds put together with a lot of detail. And with that, if you do go out of your scene and then you come back in, this of course will require you to go out and in. You can see what might look best. So as an example, I'm like, okay, this blends in well, kind of those hues of brown, a little bit of peach in the background. It complements nicely. This is where you guys are going to find realistic scenes, better than any other stock content provider that the tool does provide. So you can go from one category to the next of your choosing, or better yet, you can go right over to the stock content. You can use Getty, you can use Pexels. It's totally up to you. Make sure you do toggle over to your imagery, and with that you can select on something of your choosing. So we did get rid of this. I'm actually going to keep that background that we got from Synthesia Spaces, and now I'm going to jump right into how we can make changes with this. So the first thing is you can crop. So with it, by default, it's already cropped in a way to where it's made to fit. So now all you're going to do is you're going to zoom in or zoom out. And once you zoom in or zoom out, you can move it around in accordance to how you want it to be placed positionally. So don't forget, cropping isn't just cropping out a particular part of a scene. You can also position it a little bit better as well in alignment to what you're looking for. The next thing here is that you can also fade in or out with a color. So if you click on background color, and let's say you have this pink now added in, you can make it to where it's a little bit more faded in or out, and you can also adjust the percentage. So you can scroll left or right or enter in that percentage. The most important thing is thinking about ultimately if it's going to be distracting, especially if you wanted someone to see the detail in that respective image. And then right here you also have blur. A lot of people skip out on blur because they feel as if it's counterintuitive, because we're like, well, I have this background, I want them to see the detail, but sometimes it can still look quite cool just like this. It's blurred out enough to where you let somebody know, okay, it's probably a background of like a bar, maybe there are some, kitchen stools, or maybe there's a table. So blurring can still be very nice if you are looking for that aesthetic. Now the next thing is going to be adding in your video. So right here, when we go to video, you guys, again, same thing. You can go to library. If you've already uploaded something, you can also upload something new. If you go over to Synthesia Spaces, guys, you're not dealing with video here. So I did want to point that out. You're not seeing video. A lot of people click on it and they scroll through and they're looking for it. This doesn't live here. However, you guys can go in this video, and these are different backgrounds that you already have on your respective workspace with this particular project. I do want to point out, workspace with this project, you're not going to see it from other types of projects. So with that, you can rinse and repeat. And then also you have your Getty and Pexels for your videos. So we're actually going to click on this one right here. And this one added in seamlessly. Now I'm actually going to go back one more time, and I want you to see something. So you have a few videos here. This is 7 seconds. This is 8 seconds. And what we selected was actually 19. So if you were to select something at 7 seconds, but you notice, okay, well, wait a second, my actual script in my video is 8 seconds, you guys would need to have loop on, therefore that video would play again, so you don't run out of what is supposed to be in that background, right? So if you have something that is shorter in length for your video than the actual duration of time for the video, you do want to turn your loop on, right? And then if you have something that's an exact match, you can add that in. Or better yet, if you have a video that's longer, the first thing is you'll go over to trim, because you might want to trim this video. And I'm going to share with you as to how you would do it. You could trim it by moving it in to have this particular scene, or of course you could move it a little bit closer to the front if you wanted it. And notice in the black area here, right now we're at that full 8 seconds. That's an option that you have available to you as well. But what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to click on once, because what some of you guys are going to find as a cool feature is you allow your scene to play through, but you want that background to still play. This is how you end up now with a 19-second scene, even though we know you only have 8 seconds worth of content. That is how you would have that work. If you wanted that, you'd have that on as once. But if you wanted it, let's say, to fit within, you would have it at stretch, or you could have it at loop as well, where it's going to rinse and repeat on that respective scene that you denoted when you trimmed. Now, another thing here is you can also crop. Just like you did for your image, you can crop, but you're not really doing much in terms of placement outside of when you zoom in, because it's already made to fit, as you guys can see. So all you're doing here is you're zooming in, and then with that, zooming out if you want to get it right back to the way it was. And when you guys zoom in, you can move it around to have a different part of that scene showing. The most important thing with cropping, guys, is going to be, for some of you all, you do not have high resolution videos. So inadvertently, the video could be pixelated if you zoom in too much. So make sure if it's zoomed in, you have high resolution, and if need be, just zoom it out, because quality is going to be most important. Now, just like we had for our imagery, we can fade in a color or we can fade it out. Be very mindful here, guys, because you are dealing with a lot of movement in the background. So if it is very, very busy, and if you're concerned as to how it's going to look, of course, go ahead and just take it all off if you need to. Or, of course, with that being said, swap out that video, and then you can also blur as well. Blurring on videos can be a little tricky, because if you still can't identify what it is, sometimes we ask ourselves, okay, do we really want to use this video? But if it's still pretty much identifiable, like here, you know it's probably an office and there are some people, you can still leverage blur. And then right here, as you guys scroll down, we're also going to be dealing with some scene transitions. Now with that, again, for a lot of you guys, the background is what they're going to see first. And because of that, you are going to want to make sure that it's doing what it needs to do for that transition. So you can fade it in, you can swipe to have it go left or right. You are going to want to test this out as you're going from one scene to the next, but we're actually going to have this on fade as it is right now. So it will fade from this going into this next scene. So that is something you guys are going to want to pay attention to, especially with your backgrounds, is what background is it fading into and what actual transition is going to look best. Definitely make sure you guys are testing this out, because it's going to make a world of difference as you guys are piecing together the different scenes in your video. In here, I'm going to click right on